Hello, everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Oh, hello.
How are you?
I didn't see you there.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying ever so desperately to quietly clean off like the sunscreen and shit that was on my watch, and then I was cleaning off my phone, the screen on my phone, and realized this is making a lot of noise right in front of the microphone.
Yeah, I heard it.
So, fuck me. Anyway,
yeah, all good. We'll fix it in post.
Absolutely.
So, what are we talking about today?
That's a great question. So I think the listening audience, just to give them a little insight, I'm opening up the chat as we speak here to see if anybody's called on. I know we teased out that we'd be coming on tonight, so we'll see if we get anybody.
Did we?
Yeah, because I posted something yesterday that says we either were going to try and do it last night or tonight.
Okay, so, gotcha.
I know because Bronco Fett did his. Got it on them podcasts.
I did see that.
Yeah. So anyway, which it's already the potato and carrot shit's already starting. Oh my god.
We've been live for 20 seconds.
Oh my god, it's fucking amazing. Oh Jesus.
Oh god. Right. Oh, so many people too.
Happy birthday, Hunter. I see you jumped on there yeah, you have to eat dinner. So anyway, we were talking about so we had a whole plan for Rebels, right? And yes. That plan was immediately fucking torpedoed with schoolwork and other stuff. And I get a text from Jason that's basically that his computer is completely tits up. And
yes. Again, for the second time in a month.
All right. Well, the last time it didn't affect our taping schedule. This time it did. Yeah. Right. Apparently Jason had to do some proving his skills as a computer master, like you should. Yeah. He troubleshot his machine and ended up having to drop a couple bills to what was it, the video card you said ended up being?
Yeah. It was fucking weird too, because I don't know if this is a new thing with Windows 10 or if it's my hardware manufacturer or what, but the video card ended up being the ultimate problem, but I didn't know that right away. Typically in the old days, if the video card was gone, you pretty much had it figured out. It wasn't that hard to do, but I was getting some like blue screen shit, but it wasn't like the traditional Windows blue screen. It was some new weird error screen and my computer wouldn't boot. And so I'm thinking, okay, shit, my Windows is corrupted or something. So I'm going to have to reinstall Windows. Went through a whole bunch of troubleshooting, eventually got my machine to boot into safe mode and it looked fucking fine. It looked normal. It like, even though it was plugged directly into the video card, it was running at a decent resolution, but it was only running in safe mode. Did some more shit. I went to my my driver and I uninstalled my video driver because I started to suspect the video card. I uninstalled it and then my computer booted just fine. I'm like, what the fuck? So I went to go reinstall the driver. As soon as I started reinstalling the driver, the fucking computer dies again and starts going through all that error stuff. So I'm like, my fucking video card must be shit, but it's only acting up when you try to use the video card. I don't know. It was a big fucking mess. And Windows 10 and their like self troubleshooting and all that stuff, it's fucking bullshit.
Dude, don't look at it. There's no way. Windows has never been good at troubleshooting itself.
Yeah.
It's never been good at it. Especially even though it can give you, all right, here's your hex code for fucking trying to go look something up. Yeah, whatever. That memory address doesn't mean a goddamn thing. When it comes to really troubleshooting a fucking Windows product. Yeah. Excuse me.
So since I've been here, I've dropped like $450 on my computer over the 2 issues that it's had, because the only fucking video cards they had at Best Buy were, $300 or more. So I'm basically going to have a new desktop by the time I get home, the way things are going right now. I just keep having to replace parts over and over again. I'm expecting my RAM to all just die next week.
So, but I do see you managed to get rid of your power supply box in the background.
I did. I just threw it in the closet. So it's still in the room. I just moved it.
So was it back there?
Yeah.
So you have so when I say I see that thing is constantly in the background and look, what, I'll move that and throw it away. And yet you're still going to wear that same fucking tank top.
No, I reached into my drawer and just grabbed a random shirt out of there, and then this is just what I grabbed.
There's going to be a fucking there's going to be a campaign to have that fucking shirt destroyed.
I don't understand what the problem is. I really don't.
Now it didn't even bother me until Kathy made a big deal out of it. Now I notice it every fucking time, and now it's just part of my OCD. Anyway, I was supposed to be talking about what we're going to do this week.
Yeah. So this is pretty much it, by the way.
Yeah. This is a cleanup podcast for, some stuff that we've been wanting to talk about anyway. And just so that we have some enough content to finish up. We kind of left the Dameron comics hanging like mid-story by closing out at 10. So towards the end of this, we're going to close out the Dameron story that we were in the middle of, just to have clean closure on that. But we got some other things to talk about that I think are more interesting, quite frankly, than the Dameron comics. But there will be some content. I hate to do back-to-back comic related episodes, and this is really more going to be of a like we put in the title. It's more of a cleanup episode. Something we want to get content. We got people foaming at the mouth, crackhead style for content. So yeah, this is us giving that to you in the middle of our hectic schedules. So anyway, how about our day in Star Wars, Jason? What do you got? Because I didn't look it up.
So we haven't done a day in Star Wars in a while, and I went ahead and flipped through my phone. I'm like, yeah, these are okay. But then I fell on June 24th, and that would be June 24th of 1999. And that would be Weird Al Yankovic's parody, The Saga Begins, is released. For anybody who doesn't know, he did a parody of American Pie, the old American Pie song by Lee something or other. The fuck was that guy's name?
Don McLean.
Yes, that guy. But yeah, it was a parody of that, and it was basically...
Are you an American at all?
Come on, anyway, the song was kind of lame. But anyway,
shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
It was basically Weird Al telling the story of Phantom Menace kind of through the eyes of Obi-Wan.
Mr. Anakin guy.
Yeah, and I mean, the song itself wasn't that great, but it was right at the height of this whole Star Wars revival that was happening because Episode 1 had just come out the month before. Weird Al did this parody, released it within a month of fucking Phantom Menace coming out. And it was pretty popular, and I know he still plays it in all of his concerts, but I bring that up because he's got another very popular Star Wars related song that I don't even know, like, we haven't had this discussion, like how familiar you are with the works of Weird Al Yankovic, because me personally, I've been a huge fan of his since I was like fucking 5 years old.
I don't have the depth of fandom that you do. I have an awareness of it. I'll listen to Weird Al, because he is funny, but I'm not like my cousin Rick, is a big Weird Al guy. There's I got other family members that could be right there with you with the Weird Al catalog. I'm not to that level.
Okay. But he's got another song that he's had from, I think this debuted on his very first album, and it's called Yoda. And it's a parody of the old song Lola. I don't know if you're familiar with that song, but this is an old song from like the fucking 70s. Oh, yeah. Lola, Lola. But it's yo, 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 Yoda. Anyway, so I always was familiar with this song. It was one of the songs on one of his albums. It's mostly talking about Luke and Yoda meeting on Dagobah and all that. Anyway, I saw Weird Al in concert for the first time when I was like maybe 15 or 16. I finally got a chance to actually see him in concert. He was playing locally, and I was never familiar with the shows. He puts on one of the best fucking concerts you'll ever see in your life, by the way. Really, really entertaining from beginning to end. And he always finishes his set with Fat. Remember when he did the Michael Jackson parody on Fat? Yeah. He comes out in the fucking fat suit and everything, and he does the whole song. He finishes the song, and it's like, thank you, good night, thank you, Bakersfield, we'll see ya. They leave the stage, right? And then you think, okay, show's over. People start to get up and leave. And then all of a sudden, he comes back out playing the accordion, and he finishes every one of his shows with Yoda. Like, that's been his thing for fucking like 3 decades.
That's great.
He always finishes his sets with Yoda. And now I think he somehow incorporates The Saga Begins with the Yoda song. I think he does The Saga Begins first and then finishes off with Yoda. So I just thought that was worth bringing up. A lot of Weird Al fans out there that
absolutely, yeah. Probably way more Star Wars related than anything I would have been able to come up with.
Yeah, and Weird Al, he's always been a huge Star Wars fan too. So that is that. So that is our day in Star Wars, June 24th, 1999.
All right. I'm into that.
All right. You catching us up on the chat?
I'm adding to the notes.
Oh,
apparently, okay. Bronco Fett was in Fresno when he first heard the that song, the Phantom Menace related one.
Ah, gotcha. So from here, we're just going to jump right into our week. We don't have a main topic. We're going to bounce around between a few primary topics. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and do what we always do, talk about our week. Yeah, you mentioned, first of all, my computer crashed over the weekend. So that's been a pain in my fucking ass and in my wallet. Ugh, Jesus. And then, of course, I'm down here in school. I'm really busy with this. We're kind of getting near the end. We're in some of the last blocks. And every time I take one test and move on to the next section, I'm always told, oh, it just gets easier from here. No, it doesn't. I don't know who the fuck thought that, but it's just been a lot of hard work, a lot of late days, and a lot of studying. So haven't really had a chance to do much Star Wars related. But something else happened over the last week that you and I have talked about offline, but I figure it's worth noting here on the show, is that I may be coming home a lot sooner than I expected, because I was supposed to be down here in Mississippi until July 20th. That's always been the plan. And then I would move on to Texas, and I'd be in Texas for another 3 months. Well, come to find out, my follow-on course in Texas was canceled, or they lost seats or something. A whole bunch of shit going on that I'm not really privy to the details. Either way,
somebody fucked up. Somebody fucked up. Is really what it comes down to.
Yes, that's really what happened. But either way,
I'm retired. Fuck them. I'll tell you right now. Somebody fucked up.
Yep. But either way, it's looking more and more likely that I'm going to be coming home next month in July. The caveat to that is I still am going to have to go to Texas at some point for the 3 months. But as of right now, it's not looking like that's going to happen until winter or spring. I don't know what that means.
Do your bit. Do your bit. That's the this is a do you know who this guy is?
It kind of looks like me.
He kind of does look like you. Like
without the glasses.
Have you seen, if you know the Ricky Gervais show, you know who this guy is. This is Carl. And he in one of the thing in Ricky Gervais show, he goes, Carl is saying whole thing where he does. He's like, do your bit, meaning do your fucking job. People that are supposed to be scheduling Jason's shit, the same people that are supposed to make sure that your fucking retirees get paid on time, do your fucking bit. That's your goddamn job. Do it.
Yes, what he said.
Done with that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's looking more and more likely that I'm going to be coming home next month, and I'll probably be home for several months before I have to go back out again. So that being said, it's going to affect the show, obviously, because we'll be back in the studio a month from now.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal, and this is the way that what I want to do, because my plan was to start working on the studio next month. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going to be coming home, I'll probably wait, and then that way we have two lifting bodies to make all the rearranging and stuff like that. So, there may be a week where if we can get it all banged out in like a week, that would be fucking great. Like, catch you after work or something.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, it's honestly, that probably mostly depend on like where I am with my schoolwork and shit. I got midterms and stuff coming up right now, but by the end of the month, and I'm hoping there's some time between classes, honestly, because I take classes all through the summer, so we'll see. But we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna do the update to the studio. I have a whole can of this. By the way, sidebar and this is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The paint. The color of the walls, this blue. I don't know, you can't see it very well, and probably in this picture, but I have a whole can of this. I'd like to see the studio in this color.
Okay.
We have it's free paint, honestly, and it's one coat paint. So all it is a matter of just fucking getting everything cleared out, and we could throw it up, and we can get some color on the walls, and then if we still want to do the green screen stuff, we can do that. But anyway, just keep that in mind.
I'm not an expert painter, but I'm
sure my wife will tell you I'm terrible at cutting in. I can throw paint on a wall like nobody's business, but doing the cutting in, apparently I'm the worst ever. So, but it's for the
maybe
studio.
She can come help.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's a small space. It wasn't near like she did all the cutting in here, and for when we did the bedroom. So,
Nice.
but yeah, I got a whole can of this color, and I love. Quite frankly, I like the color, and I think it would look good in the studio. So, yes, studio renovations. Maybe we'll even do some of it live. Maybe we'll do it live. You can see us all getting high on paint fumes when it's 98 degrees outside, 100% humidity.
Yeah, it'll be great. But yeah, that's really been my week, and more details next week and in the following weeks as to whether or not I'm definitely coming home. But right now it's looking pretty damn likely. So we may be back in the studio, be getting rid of this, fuzzy internet connection. And
yeah, for a time being, and then obviously you'll have to finish the course at some point. But
yeah,
I think you know what, I know it's a mixed bag for you. I think it's great for your family. It's great for everyone else who obviously wants part of your time, wants to see you at home. And guess what, it gives you that chance to come home and get promoted. That way the next time you go out, you'll be a little bit help pay back the desktop payments that you had to make.
And remind me offline, we need to have a conversation about that too. But
all right, fair enough.
That's for another time. So what about you? That's really all I had.
So for me, like, I have to piggyback on the school thing. Like this, I've mentioned it a couple times in the last couple of weeks where I'm really trying to get this go back to school thing figured out. Kind of figured out a little bit. I still don't understand how I did this while we were still flying. Like we'd be overseas for 10 to 17 days, and I'd managed to get homework submitted and do everything else while I was overseas, and never, maintain almost a perfect grade point average. And now I'm sitting here with really, I have this, and I have like Mason stuff to do, and that's it. And I struggle with the time management. So it's just a matter of getting it figured out. But it's been stressing me more than it should, quite frankly. I know I seem like a pretty chill person, so you can imagine what it would take to get me worked up.
Right.
Sarcasm, drip. Sarcasm.
Well, I have seen some of those discussion questions that you've been sending me.
Oh my God.
That's enough to frustrate anybody.
Fucking online learning, man. Like, let's make random discussion topics and then and actually go so far as to say that this is going to further your interaction with your peers. No, it's not. Everyone that answers as a part of this thing is doing it because we have to, not because we're trying to further interaction. There's no real dialogue. Anyway. So school, fucking been busy as shit. And in this week too, I committed myself to multiple things, and over the weekend I'm going canoeing with my cousins. So I'm not going to have the weekend to do shit. So I've been just trying to plow through as much as possible. And
you're going to do a YouTube live from the canoe?
We can. Yeah, why not?
just because you mentioned it last week. So
yeah, absolutely. We're going. It'll be around Harrisburg, so there's going to be cell phone connection. So yeah, we'll do it live. So by the way, happy Father's Day. It was today is Tuesday, the 19th. And Father's Day was on Sunday. So happy Father's Day. I noticed some some shout outs went out over the Facebook group, and just wanted to get that out there, as part of the deal. Interestingly enough, so I need to thank my beautiful, most just amazing wife, Kathleen, who has been entertaining us all with our carrots and potatoes and yeah, I personally, I think it's hilarious. It's
become a new staple of the show.
It hasn't really gotten annoying yet. It's still funny. So but, when it gets annoying, we'll let you know. But so I am one of those people, as I'm sure most of you out there are, that have an issue with when you see something, you end up buying. It's not oh, you know what? I'll wait till Christmas, and then maybe Santa will bring this for me for Christmas. No, it's oh, I have insomnia and it's 3 a.m. and I want a turntable. And then a turntable shows up. Maybe it's something looks like that one. And then when your lovely wife is trying to find you a gift for Father's Day, it makes it very, very difficult. And I am a very, very difficult person when it comes to stuff like that. So
I'm told that I am as well.
Yeah, we both are. Trust me. Yeah. And so I'm putting it out there. My sincerest apologies for making it so difficult to find a gift. However, she remembered from way back when. You talk about Weird Al, and it sounds like Weird Al should be on my concert bucket list. You know, I have a concert bucket list of bands I want to see live. And ironically, I've seen almost all of them. I'm even closer to that now because my wife got me tickets to U2. They were in Philly this past week.
Nice.
And U2 is one of those bands that, you know, I'm not like, screaming, like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. But I like the music, especially the older stuff. But I've always heard it's a great show.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter how into the band you are, you go there for the fucking show. And it was an amazing, like the way they used they had these giant screens and fucking the camera work and all the digital production shit that they did. It was a great show, and it was a great Father's Day gift. So thank you to my lovely wife Kathleen for getting those for me. And I mean that sincerely. I'm not just doing that because I have an audience to placate to.
Right.
Maybe a little bit. But anyway, so that being said, with my mea culpa notwithstanding, I violated the edict.
No buying stuff edict?
Yeah, the no more Star Wars shit in the house edict. So all the loyal listeners know about this. The edict in the house is I've got too much shit. No more Star Wars stuff. You know, some stuff I've gotten gifted. So that's like you can't really do much about. Ooh, here she is right now. Hang on. Hello, you're live on the podcast. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're live on the podcast.
Oh, great.
I'll see you when you get home. Oh, that was it. She doesn't she doesn't want to be on the podcast.
No. That's good though.
So anyway, I violated the edict. And I was, like I said, I've been suffering from a little bit of insomnia, and which prompts me to be on Amazon and on eBay at 2-3 in the morning. It's never a good thing, ever. The
only worst thing is if you're also on Ambien at the same time.
I wish I had Ambien as the excuse. So what what I'm looking for is I wanted an original TIE fighter pilot. Circa, the 3 3/4 inch TIE fighter pilot. The detail work is real shitty, but I kind of want it. Yeah. Like I have a TIE fighter thing going. Like I'd put away everything else, honestly, except for the TIE fighter stuff. I'd load this up, and then my Metal Millennium Falcon that my cousin got for me for my retirement.
Yes,
I put it all away. Because a TIE fighter is obviously my favorite thing. So I'm on eBay. I'm looking for this thing, put some bids out there, trying to keep it really cheap. I don't have any money. So I ended up coming across a Black Series TIE pilot who looks a lot like this.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So fucking glare. I hate you. So there he is. He's still in the box. So
nice.
This was on eBay as the image on the back too. Just look how cool that guy is.
Yeah.
He's in there. He's got his weapon. It's new in box, right? But the box is beat to shit, right? Like it's been rattling around in the fucking bottom of Jason's luggage. So the guy and on eBay, it was like, hey, this is new in box, pristine condition. The guy ends up messaging me and say, hey, listen, I sold out of all the the brand new ones. I still have one new in a box, and as a I'm sorry, he sent me a loose Stormtrooper.
Oh shit! And that's a Black Series.
Yeah, Black Series Stormtrooper with
Nice.
with a Z11.
Oh, of course. Look at that.
Honestly, this is the first Black Series guy that I've seen out of the box, because all the ones you've gotten have all been in the box.
That's correct. Yes.
So, and I can't get the fucking weapon.
So, that being said, what is your analysis of the out of the box figure?
These guys are fucking cool, man. The articulation and everything is real cool. The detail is really, really good. As far as the helmet detail and everything else. Yeah. I don't know how we don't open all these and just fucking play with them. So
trust me, it's tempting. It's very tempting.
God, it's crazy. So from a detail perspective, I mean, the guy looks great. So it was kind of a bonus for me to get this guy and actually get to fucking get my hands on him, as opposed to looking through him in the box. There's a real good chance that this guy's going to end up out of the box. I'm not lying. It's real. It's going to be really he's in the box really for the podcast. It's amazing. That's how he's lasted this long. I don't know that he's because the box is pretty beat up. So if I really wanted one of these in a pristine condition, I'd probably have to search around. But
because I could just see just through the video how the box is beat.
Yeah, it's all discolored and the corners are all fucked up. So if you're collecting these, which I'm not collecting the Black Series, so it's really just one more reason for me not to keep it in the box. But anyway, so violated the edict, but got some cool shit out of it.
Yeah, you need to bring that Stormtrooper to the studio when I get back.
I do. So one of the things that made me think about this, and you talk about the detail work. Have you seen? Give me a second here. Yeah, raised lip gloss is contributing. No more. Yes, I know, honey. No more stuff.
And Isaac Sipes snagged the swoop bike drone.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, so I go. So if everyone remembers me opening this fucking awesomeness. That I think it was my birthday that I got this.
Was it your birthday or the post Christmas? I can't remember.
I think it was my birthday. I got this.
So
I remember being
late October, early November. If you want to go back,
it was my birthday. My birthday's in October. So anyway, so I charge this guy up. I want to go outside and fly because it's been windy, it's been rainy, so the weather in Jersey's finally starting to fucking mellow out. And I'm like, I want to take this guy out and fly it, right? Batteries aren't charged up, so I'm like, fuck, I gotta charge up the batteries. This is it. I'm getting back to my other sidebar here in a second, by the way. I don't know if there's any chance I'm gonna be able to find this guy. Anyway, so I'm like, I get the batteries charged up. I go and to test fly it in the house, and it gets airborne, immediately crashes, and one of the fucking props just evaporates. And now I can't find the spare props. And in the box, I saved the box because that fucking box is amazing. If you remember, go back to that episode. Me opening the fucking box. It is tremendous the way it was packaged, and I'm sure the spares are in there. But now, I want to go fly the fucking drone, and I can't because I fucking broke it. I'm the worst. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about was getting back to the Black Series, guys.
Yes.
There's a guy out who's on Instagram who basically he's a veteran, and he sets up these war scenes with the stormtroopers and stormtroopers, clone troopers, first order guys, and everything else. And what he does is he sets up a still shot, and it's basically these guys in battle, and he'll set it up it'll be in a dirt pile, and he'll have the guys kind of leaned up against cover, and some of them don't just use the the Star Wars guns. Sometimes he puts a more modern, you might have a 203 or an M4 or something in the stormtrooper's hand.
Okay.
But then he'll like as he's taking a picture, he'll like throw dirt in the air or have like a little bit of smoke. So it's so cool. It's so cool what he does. Because it's basically an action sequence done with the figures, and it's in a still. So it's really, really cool. I'll make it my mission to find
his Instagram handle.
Yeah. And so that other people can enjoy it. He's actually been on, like, I think he was actually on the Star Wars show at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they were talking about him. So I'll find him and let everybody know who hasn't already seen him. But really, really cool stuff. And it's the detail work of these black figures that makes that shit look so real. I mean, and that's how good these are. So if you haven't got a chance to play with them, open up the box and do it. Fuck it.
Bronco Fett is claiming he has a Black Series 6-inch Bronco Fett figure. I'd like to see that for myself. Post it in Facebook or something, Tom.
Yeah, do it, and you will do it. So anyway, edict, blah blah blah. So we don't have it anywhere else in the notes, so I'm going to talk about it now. Those of us who are Disney stockholders, my wife and I are both Disney stockholders. And in the mail last week, we got our merger proposal. Your vote is very important for our proxy votes. Okay. So this is, we've talked about it on the podcast about the potential merger between Disney and 21st Century Fox and the implications for the Star Wars franchise, because we know that Fox still owns the rights to the original trilogy. So, and there's been speculation. There's been speculation about what the, is this deal going through? Is it not, or whatever? I can tell you right now. Jason and I were talking about this offline, but this is a pretty serious document right here. When this goes out to both companies' shareholders to basically inform us for our votes. And oh, by the way, this is quite a hefty document. Like, I don't know if you could see that, but that is like a 300-page document. And I can tell you, because I thumbed through every single page, that the word Lucasfilm appears in here once, just basically identifying it as a Disney holding that they picked up. There's like a timeline for when Disney was picking up and merging with other stuff.
Right.
And that's it. The words Star Wars don't appear in the entire document. And it's like, aside from the one mention of Lucasfilm, it's not, there's no mention of it, any real, any of the intellectual property. Now, the way the merger breaks down, I think we've done the overview before. It's like there's going to be something called New Fox that's going to basically hold like the news channel and the sports shit, the Big Ten Network, all that other stuff. That's going to be a completely separate entity, and they're going to divide up shares a certain way, and it's like yada yada yada. 300 pages, people. I don't have time to get into all that shit. But this is what they sent us to inform us for our vote, which is due, I think, July 10th for the proxy vote. This shit's going to go down. I mean, after having read this, like Goldman Sachs, there's like they have 3 independent verifications of whether or not this is a fair deal for the stockholder. That is included in their reports, including in this giant thing. I'm not a financial expert, so I can't tell you every single number is in here. They're very open and honest. There's a timeline of when Bob Iger and Rupert Murdoch started talking about potential merging and having meetings amongst between each other, which they had done frequently. But then it said, okay, at this point we started to talk about it a little bit more seriously. And then it goes through all the timelines, and it includes, like, as they're identified as whatever. I forget already. It's like A and B, like basically the other people that were putting in bids, and it breaks all that stuff down. And then most of this document really is how the stocks are broken out and who's going to get what. You're talking about billions of dollars being thrown around here for paying dividends and how the stocks are split and everything else. This is going to happen. I can't imagine. Like, I know that there's been, since we talked about it, I think we brought it up last week even. Just
briefly
about just the merger.
Yeah.
And this is like, to me, this is solid. This makes it a real thing. You know, Comcast can, you know, you can go on Facebook that Comcast put a higher bid in, but according to this document, the other people that were bidding could not basically couldn't match how ultimately the shareholder would make out. Yeah. And also based on this, I get the impression that Iger and Murdoch are like buddies. And
probably.
They would rather,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, they would rather see this deal go through than have a deal that goes to with fucking Comcast, you know, the evil empire.
Yeah.
Watch my internet connection get shut down because I'm talking bad about Comcast. But
I do think it's ironic that you're calling Comcast the evil empire when comparing them to like Rupert Murdoch and fucking Bob Iger.
You know what? Fuck.
Two guys that are probably part of those Bilderberg meetings. And
yeah, but listen, Comcast, with the shit they're doing with NBC Universal and everything else, I mean, they're just as bad as anybody. Their customer service sucks. The other interesting thing, so as far as mergers go, we can't really. I know, Jason, you looked up some stuff for the intellectual properties for 21st Century Fox.
Yeah, and as far as like the Star Wars specific stuff, we've kind of mentioned this in the past, but the real key here as far as 21st Century Fox goes is when they first made the deal with George Lucas back in 76 or whatever to make the original Star Wars movie. Part of that deal was that Fox would have distribution rights for that movie forever. So until the end of time, 21st Century Fox, unless they sell that right, own the rights to distribute A New Hope, Episode 4. Forever. They also had very long-term rights to Empire and Jedi, but those have either expired or are set to expire soon within the next couple of years. So despite Disney buying out Lucasfilm, one thing that they've never had was the rights to redistribute Episode 4, A New Hope. So with this merger comes the rights to distributing that movie, and that would ultimately give Disney the complete Star Wars library at this point. So they've always had that one little piece that was never part of that original deal, and this would seal that for them.
And let's face it, what Star Wars fans want, why who gives a shit? Why do we care?
Well,
we want the theatrical release.
Yes,
that is the Ark of the Covenant for us as Star Wars fans.
Yep.
Like, we want to see the theatrical release. Now, it's tough because we're going to talk about it a little bit later. We're talking about future canon. You know, they're saying right now that there are 9 Star Wars movies like in some sort of production.
Right. I saw that. I wasn't sure if that was worth mentioning because I think you have to take some of that with a grain of salt. Because I think
all the salt, all the grains. I'm throwing all the grains of salt up in the air. But let's just pretend. Let's pretend it is fact. And there's 9 fucking movies.
All right.
The fact that there's 3 movies that we still have one part of this trilogy. We know that there's another trilogy that What's This Nuts is working on. And then we know that there's going to be streaming content and there's going to be, you know, live action stuff. There's a shit ton of content coming out, regardless if they're actually working on 9 movies. So we know that there's a lot of content. What worries me is that because of, let's say, saturation, that maybe they don't do the theatrical release. That would be, to me, it would just be like it's kind of. It's that ultimate tease. You know what I mean? Like we all want it. The diehards want it. You know, we know they'd make a fuck ton of money.
They would.
I mean, they'd make any money that they lost in the merger, they'd make back in a minute with fucking the theatrical release.
Yeah. Could you imagine like a theatrical 4K Blu-ray fucking release, like super HD cut of the original unaltered trilogy? Could you just imagine that?
Oh my God. All right.
Dave got really excited. He needs a tissue.
Yes. I'm looking around. But damn it. Well, we got part of it. That's the golden ticket. You know, that's the Ark of the Covenant, however you want to talk. You know, the reason that the merger has relevance in our world right now is for the potential for us to see the theatrical releases, you know, that without the fucking special edition, and that being the key. Fuck the special editions.
And also, it could give us some future content as far as like Dave anti-Marvel rants, because there's a whole Marvel implication too with this.
Oh, do we really even have to bring that up? I know Bronco Fett was trying, you know, in the chat to bring that up. You know, yeah, great, fucking Captain America and Wolverine in a movie, hooray! Don't give a shit. I'm sure a lot of people do, but whatever.
I think it's my goal to just try to mention Marvel at least once a week. If I
roll my fucking eyes any further, I'd be looking at my brainstem.
Yeah, anyway. I just want to find a way to work Marvel into every single episode of the podcast.
Such a douchebag.
Of course.
You know what you should do? You should fucking get rid of that tank top, and then you can put a Marvel tank top on. That would do it. That would do it. Just change it up.
I like that. I like that.
Anyway, that was my week in Star Wars. You know, I got the merger documentation. I sat at my kitchen table and I was texting Jason back and forth and taking pictures of, like, you know, and highlighting stuff that I thought was interesting when it talks about intellectual properties and, you know, this, that, and the other thing. I managed to get through every page of it. And it's very, very interesting. I think this is as real as it gets, people. And like I said, we all have to get our votes in by the middle of next month or early next month, and we'll see what happens. There could be breaking news, you know, coming out that I don't know how breaking it'll be. It'll probably be leaked out that, like, oh yeah, it's most likely going to happen. This is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it. So what else? What the fuck? We've been talking for almost an hour.
I know. Well, yeah, this has just been kind of our random show. So we've got a couple other topics to touch on. First of all,
I got your whip started over here.
So this is kind of a sad note, but solo box office for last weekend was not good. It dropped down to number 4 overall. It only took in $10 million over the last weekend. I really wanted to go see it again also, but I just didn't get the chance.
Me either.
And I may have lost my chance at this point because Jurassic World 2 comes out this weekend. So we already had Incredibles 2 come out last weekend. Jurassic World is coming out this weekend. And this pretty much means the end for Solo at this point. The box office is too crowded. It's already number 4. It'll drop even lower by the end of this weekend. And it's really not making a whole lot of money at this point. So up to this point, and these numbers are probably going to be damn near final. Domestically, it's made $194 million. Worldwide total, it's made $342 million, which may sound like a lot, but most estimates are putting its budget around $450 million. And of course, we've talked about it before. Home video releases, tie-ins, merchandising, and all that. It'll probably make at least its budget back.
I think it'll break even. I think ultimately we'll see it break even, but it definitely... You know, Ron Howard was on, you know, social media basically trying to get, you know, hype people up to get you to go see the movie. Yeah. And you've heard Jason and I talk about it. We're not going to beat it up any further, but we both think it was a good movie.
Yeah.
And that people are missing out. They're missing out by not seeing it, honestly. And if you're waiting for the home theater release, now granted, we get to live in a time right now where 65-inch televisions exist with 4K Ultra, you know, the best pictures you're going to have with sound systems that you can put on are very affordable, you know, all these things. And most people that are movie files have setups where they're going to be able to enjoy this movie, not necessarily in the theater experience, but they're not going to lose a lot as far as quality goes. Still, excuse me, making all kinds of noise. You missed out. You missed out on going to the movies and getting the full movie experience, because I don't care what your setup is, you're not going to beat having, you know, when we initially saw it in that Amazon, the AMC,
Amazon, same thing.
But yeah, whatever. You're not going to get that theater experience. You know, with the giant screen and see. You're not seeing it the way it was meant to be seen.
Yeah, and I tell you what,
this isn't fucking, you know, you're not watching Benson or MASH or some shit that was like made for television. This is a movie. It's made to be seen in a movie theater.
Yeah, the whole Kessel Run sequence is worth it alone to see it in a theater.
And with the sound balancing, so the orchestral stuff is coming in certain ways, and all that other shit. It's just you're missing out. And let me, Marvel shit notwithstanding, I'm missing out. I'm missing out if I don't see fucking the Marvel movies in the theater, because I'm missing out on that theater experience. And I know that, and you know what? I don't care. Fuck them. They've made enough money. But The Incredibles 2. I want to see The Incredibles 2. And it's an animated movie, so it's not even like they're going to do something in the theater. It's going to wow me. I still want the theater experience. You know, I want to see it. I really enjoyed the first one, and I hope they don't fuck it up for the second one. I haven't looked at any reviews or anything. Does anybody?
Yeah, neither have I actually. But to just rub a little bit of salt into the wound, Incredibles 2 has already made more money than Solo.
Which isn't surprising, because you're getting a lot more of the kid market in there too. Not a lot of people, you know, there was a lot of shit on social media where you had the adults dressed up as like fucking Frozone or Mr. Incredible or something like that, and they're dragging their poor embarrassed children behind them to the theater. I mean, it's a Disney movie made for kids, so they're getting that audience that you weren't going to get in Solo anyway. It wasn't that kind of movie. And Jurassic World 2, I don't think it'll outperform. Jurassic World made a shit ton of money for no reason. Honestly,
it did, but they're expecting the second one to make quite a bit more also. So we'll see.
And you know what sucks? Because when I finally saw Jurassic World, I saw it at home, you know, on DVD or whatever, and I enjoyed it, and I didn't think I would. Yeah, because I expected, you know, I'm Chris Pratt. I thought there was shit on it a little bit, honestly. You know, it's tough with sequels. It really is, especially ones that, like, Jurassic Park is one of the best movies ever.
Yeah.
And the fact is, I watched it the other day.
The original?
Yeah, the original.
Nice.
And it holds up. It holds up. But anyway, so I might, if I get a chance, I might see Jurassic World in the theater. But honestly, my next theater experience would probably end up being Incredibles 2. Just based on the nature of how often we're going to go see movies.
Yeah, if I was home, I'd probably also see it with my family in theaters. Yeah. But
you guys, your kids are old enough where you can go to Jurassic World and see that in the theaters.
Yeah, but none of us really care about that movie.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I feel like I missed out, because when Jurassic World, and I saw it here, I'm like, this would have been way better if I had saw it in the theater. So
yeah, I believe it.
Well, so we'll see. But anyway, this isn't a fucking Jurassic World.
Yeah, okay. That is a good segue into our next section, though, because one thing that I've been wanting to do now that Solo is starting to sort of slow down and we're moving on from it is take a look at what's coming down the road for Star Wars, because it's always what's next now, what's coming next, because since Force Awakens came out, it's just been fucking one thing after another. Boom, boom, boom. So I wanted to take a look ahead and see what's next. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot out there. So the first thing, and probably the biggest of anything on this list, is the Thrawn book, the next Thrawn book, Alliances. That's coming out next month, like right after I'm done here in Mississippi, in fact. Right. So you and I are going to be on that shit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, Thrawn Alliance is July 24th of next month. We haven't mentioned it on the show in a while, not since we did our review of the first Thrawn book. But I'm excited for this. I loved the first book, and I'm really looking forward to this one as well. I wish it had come out a week earlier, and then I could have bought the audiobook and listened to it on my drive home, like I listened to the audiobook on my drive to Mississippi. But what can you do? Fuck me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So of all of the upcoming canon for the next year or so, that's probably the biggest thing to come out, depending on your opinion on the Resistance show. But yeah, Thrawn Alliance is next month. Anything about that you wanted to mention?
No, I mean, I think you covered it. I'm excited for it. It'll be nice to have something that I'm excited to read. I still haven't finished the other Solo book.
Oh, the last shot.
Yeah, I haven't had time to kind of work because I'm reading for school. So I'm not that kind of reader where I can I'm doing school shit and I'm going to read for fun too. Now that it's summer and I might have, if I spend some time outside, maybe I'll bring it out there with me and tie that up. the story wasn't so engaging where I felt like usually what happens for me, and this is what happened with Thrawn. I get the book and I won't stop reading it until it's done. Like that's it. That's all
You're
I'm
talking
doing.
like one straight session, or are you just talking like any free time you have?
Pretty
it's all in
close.
that book?
I mean, I'm like, you stay up late, reading till I can't stay awake anymore. Wake up, do whatever. The second I pick the book back up, it's usually a 2-session deal, and I'm done with it. And that's probably what'll happen with Alliances. I'll get the book, and because I have school and everything else, that I'll make sure that I finish it that way. That way, I've read it, it's done, and I'll just fucking just take giant gulps of it.
And I would imagine we're going to review it not long after it comes out, like probably the next week, if we could both finish the book in time.
Exactly. It's just going to be how fast you read it.
But I can get there. Like I read Phasma in like 2 days, so it is possible.
It is possible.
Yeah. So, along those same lines, you would mention Solo before and not finishing Last Shot. Well, the Solo novelization is also coming out, and that is September 4th. I had no idea this was even a thing until I started doing this research, and I saw it on a list of upcoming books. So I don't know how interested you are in that.
I don't know if it's going to be worth it. Here's the deal. I think that The Last Jedi novelization, and even with, it's more importantly like Force Awakens. Let's say Force Awakens novelization. We were really after that to try and make some sense of some of the things that we saw to be able to predict what was going to happen next, because that was the big thing, right? When we're talking about the stuff in the trilogy, we're trying to put the pieces together to make the next thing work. This with Solo, I think everything is right in front of us. I don't know that there's anything that would come out in the novelization like, oh, this was a little bit murky. Maybe we get to a little bit more Akira's backstory in the novelization. I'm not sure. Thinking. But
and another thing
I'm not rushing this in September to. I'm not. It's probably not even on my cross check. It'll be something we talk about again on the show. And Bronco Fett, we know, is an avid collector of the books. He has a large library of leather-bound books. Maybe he'll get it. We'll let him. Maybe we bring him on and we'll review it.
Yeah, there you go. Bronco Fett, Tom, read the Solo novelization, and then come on the show.
Or anyone else, not just Bronco Fett, but anyone else who's going to get the novelization for that feels like they have time.
Yeah, and you have to be articulate, and you have to use your words. And you can come on the show, and you can review Solos, so we don't have to.
We'll call it the 15-minute book review by random audiences. We need to write that down. That should be like a sketch. Hold on. The 15-minute book review on the All Things Star Wars podcast. See, this is it. We're just coming up with ideas.
That's great.
All on the air too. So none of it will be a surprise.
Yep. So besides the Solo novelization, a shitload of fucking young adult books and like junior novels and all that stuff, like fucking dozens of them over the next year. And I'm just like, I don't care about any of this stuff.
I make fart noises at that as well. However, and this is what kind of bothers me about that. We have precedents now in Last Jedi that there's character development in these young adult novels that have relevance in the canon. You know what I'm saying?
Because we had the Leia
purple hair bitch. Time. Yeah, well, because it introduced purple hair broad to fucking and then apparently shows the relationship for that. So I love to be very dismissive. I'd love to be more dismissive of the young adult stuff, but the reality is there may be some canon hiding in there that we're missing. So it's one of those things where, again, if somebody's going to be out there reading it, let us know what you think. If you can be articulate.
Come on to the 15-minute book review.
That's right. The All Things Star Wars podcast 15-minute book review, and you too can be on YouTube and let us know what you thought of the book. I know I'm not going to have time to read any young adult novelization. I don't have young kids that are going to be reading this, especially when there's video games to be played. we didn't even talk about that. You know, as we're going through this list, you know, we had Battlefront 2 content come out with the solo stuff.
Right.
Because I don't feel like talking about the novels anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about this.
Sure.
So I've played some of the, you know, so I need to walk away from the fucking school shit for a little bit. And so I've got, you know, went back into Battlefront 2, playing some Blast. I'm not a heroes and villains guy, right? So a lot of this content that be it like the Battlefront has been pushing out has more to do with being like a heroes and villains. Like, oh, you can be Lando, you can be fucking Han, you can do whatever. Like, I don't really give a shit about that. Like, I don't like. I'm more of a, because I still have that Call of Duty mindset, right? Where it's the, I want to get in, being in some sort of engagement where I'm shooting at somebody else for this length of time. Then, all right, that game ends. I wait 5 minutes and another game starts. And then if I get 15, 20 minutes, you know, or where I get to actually play the game, or maybe a half hour to an hour, then I've played several games. I've satisfied myself. I've, you know, reset my brain or whatever. And then I move on. So for me in particular, I don't necessarily care about the heroes versus villain stuff. So I don't care that there's the fucking Lando and the Han that's in there is picture fucking perfect. I mean, as far as the graphics go.
Nice.
Like when you fire up BF2 and you're looking at him, like you'll see him standing there. It's the, what the fuck his name is, Alan Aldrich or whatever his name is. You know, standing there looking all like not like Han Solo. Except for the vest. So that's pretty cool. They've added like, so Blast is our preferred method of play, right? So, and honestly, I've gotten used to the Blast maps to the point where, like, I know we talked about our initial review of Battlefront 2 that the Blast map was almost unplayable based on where you were spawning and everything. You're still dying a lot. You're still, you know, being respawned into like the 4-person group. It's, as you get used to it, it's just not as bad because you're getting used to it. It's like anything else, you know. You stab.
Right.
Yeah, see this giant bruise on my arm. This is from being stabbed.
Shit.
Yeah, this is from being stabbed and electrocuted. You know, in my most recent testings with the VA. So
what the fuck?
Oh, dude, it's purple as shit too. Like, I don't know if you're.
Oh, I can tell. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
That thing was the size of a fucking grape tomato, and like the guy like pushed it down to like make it spread out. Oh, dude, it was fucking worse. But yeah, so anyway, like you get used to that. You get used to having your arms and fucking neck electrocuted. So you get used to the spawning into Battlefront. That's where I was going with that.
I guess. It's a weird analogy, but sure.
This is my life.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's the Kessel map is like the Kessel planet is part of the Blast map, and where you're going through the tunneling, and when you're outside, you're underneath the Falcon, and the graphics are real good in that. It's pretty engaging. There's a couple of new maps. They're trying. They really are. Yeah. I haven't unlocked any, like, you see some people that are running around with like different, you know, skins on. Like, I haven't done any of that shit. You know, I'm whatever the generic shit is. So, and we talked about it at the last podcast that EA's kind of their mea culpa with like, hey, we're listening to you as the fans, and we're trying to make the shit better.
Yeah.
Like I said, I hadn't played Battlefront in a while. I wanted to play it because I knew there was some new content on there, and I wasn't disappointed. I played Blast for a while. You know, leveled up a little bit, and you know, I'll keep playing it. It's a different playing experience than the original Battlefront. That's just, you know, it just is what it is. They're not going to. It's not going to change so dramatically, and I still stick with the fact that I think that EA is, this is what they're this is the platform for Star Wars until somebody offsets them. So it's just, if we're going to play Battlefront, this is what we're going to have to be used to.
Mm-hmm. And as we mentioned last week, there's a ton of new content coming out over the next year. Mm-hmm. So we've got all that to look forward to. And something that we've talked about offline also, after I get back home and I get a real internet connection, I want to kind of dive back into Battlefront 2 and kind of do a review in progress. so to speak. So kind of take a second look at it after playing it again with all this new downloadable content, because I haven't played it at all in months because of my shit connection down here.
Yeah.
So
no, I was gonna say I totally agree. I there was times where I really missed like spawning into something where like we could be running around doing making an objective together. So we never got a chance to do that with Battlefront 2. Really, I mean we had a little bit of time when you were at home when Battlefront 2 came out. We really didn't play online together a whole lot because you were getting ready to leave, and all the other shit. So I would like to give that a fair shot to see how it is as a group to go in.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yep. So yeah, that's something that we're going to definitely do once I'm back, if it's either next month or later on down the line. Last thing on this sort of timeline of things coming soon that I wanted to touch on was that Resistance series that's coming out. We didn't talk about it the week after it was announced. And because quite frankly, I don't really care that much. It's an animated series. It's like an anime style art. It's Dave Filoni's next project. We know Dave Filoni, he's been part of the head of Clone Wars and Rebels. So it's in good hands. But at the same time, I don't fucking like the Resistance. I think they're a bunch of bitches. The only good part about the Resistance was Leia. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Resistance at all. So I really don't want to see some fluffy fucking cartoon about the Resistance.
So I think what's going to make this interesting is I think what we have to, not me, because I'm already of this mentality, but maybe it's something to think about for you and for others with that same mentality. Think of where we are with Rebels. Okay.
Yep.
And this is a story outside of the story. As we look at Rebels, Clone Wars was about the primary characters. Rebels got us to a point where we're looking at something that's outside the primary characters, interacts with the primary characters a little bit because, we do see, certain people show up in Rebels that makes the tie-in. But for the most part, we're talking about characters that are completely outside of what's going on, as we move along the timeline, right? This Resistance could be the same thing. We're operating outside of. We have to remember that the Resistance is bigger than just those fucking 3 ships because they're calling out. The whole purpose of going to that fucking ice planet with the fucking prickly coyotes and all that bullshit was to get a call out to other people that are going to be part of the cause. Part of and. We get the idea that in Last Jedi that the call did go out, that there was a response. So there's obviously things, this isn't just about a half dozen people. And if this series is going to take, okay, here's a set of characters and here's basically what they're doing, parallel to what's going on with the rest of the timeline, then I think it can work. If you're going to try and make a series that's based on some of the characters that we've already seen, as far as the Resistance goes, then I agree with you. I'm not really that interested, but I'm willing to give this the benefit of the doubt because I'll be the first to tell you that when Rebels came out, I was interested, but not really like that interested in what was going on with it. And then it got good to me. So I'm willing to okay, this is Dave Filoni. He brought us to a point with Rebels that we were like, you get a lot of buy-in, as a fan, and you start buying into these characters that really have nothing to do with the original canon. So I think that I'm willing to give him enough rope for this particular thing to hang himself with.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Because we don't really know a whole lot about it at this point. So.
We don't. We really don't. And I think that's on purpose. One of the things that we didn't really get into when we talked about the merger was, Disney and Fox, everyone, I guarantee everyone listening here is familiar with Hulu, right? So what I didn't know until I read this document that Hulu was actually owned by Disney, 21st Century Fox, NBC Universal, blah, blah, blah. They have this there's 3 major shareholders that hold 30% each, and then there's one that holds 10%. I think it's Time Warner. So basically with the merger, now Disney owns most of Hulu. And to me, what that indicates to me is that even prior to this, Disney was making noises about getting the lion's share of what Hulu was producing, so that they would be basically their content would be primary on it. To me, now you're going to see Disney, if the merger goes through, then Hulu could be their engine that they put out this content on.
Well, you got to think, because they announced their Disney streaming service that's supposed to start next year. I mean, maybe they consolidate that into Hulu. They're just like, okay, instead of just a separate independent service, now we've got this majority in Hulu. We might as well just make Hulu our platform.
It says
it's already established and everything else.
Yeah, it says in the stockholders report that the intent is to use existing technologies and platforms to, use just fluffy words for like new content and shit like that. But that tells me, if you're a company that already owns 30% of Hulu, and Hulu is pretty popular, and now you're going to have the majority ownership of Hulu, that to me is a no-brainer. That's where you're going to see, okay, this is where Disney is going to use as their streaming service, because the infrastructure is already there, the subscription network is already there. And now you just have, all right, Disney, or maybe you have a Star Wars package that's on Hulu, or something like that. Who knows? But I think that was a big part of like something that I got out of when I was reading the stockholder report, for the proxy vote, is that ownership in Hulu. So we don't have to wait for some new technology to come out. If they're the primary owners of Hulu, it's going to come out on Hulu. I can't see it really going any other way.
Yeah, that would make sense. So that's interesting. So that'll be more stuff to keep an eye on as this merger gets closer and closer to happening. And as far as the future canon, the only other thing I have written down on this list is episode 9, which is December of next year. So that's a year and a half away. Not a whole lot of canon material, at least that's been announced in between. So I guess the good thing for us is, even though we're not going to have a shitload of new content to cover on a regular basis, this will give us a chance to dive more into some of the older stuff, even like Legends material, shit that we missed, and stuff that we've wanted to talk about here on the show.
Yeah, I think we need to finish the Bane series.
Yes.
Get that finished and talk about that and really start talking about some Old Republic stuff. Like you have that, your lovely wife Kristen bought all those books, and I saw the exchange with Bronco Fed about that book being in the pile, and that was one of the first ones you wanted to read, and I haven't read that.
The Revan book,
yeah. So that would be something, a good place to start, because we know that even based on Solo, they're not so afraid to include the words Old Republic and some items and things that would things like old Sith holocrons and Mandalorian armor from the Old Republic era. I mean, I think these are ways to breach that. So I think overall, if we're talking about the future canon material, and obviously we got the comics on the list too. There's going to be more comics that come out. I got Star Wars, another Star Wars one today, which I still have to put into the box. So that'll probably continue to do what, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a new series that comes out at some point. That'll coincide with the Resistance animated series. I mean, who knows? Yeah. But anyway.
So we're running out of time here. We mentioned we would talk about the next 3 issues of the Poe Dameron comics. So
I love the fact that, look, whenever we start this thing, Jason, there's always this concern. We're like, are we gonna have enough content? Are we gonna be able to fill the time? Right. And then sure shit, we look at you look at the timer and go, fuck, we've got 15 minutes left.
Yeah. Now this won't be an issue once we're back in the studio, but this is the restrictions due to YouTube and video length and all that.
Exactly. This is all based on Jason's, location, not necessarily.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to talk more than 90 minutes, people. I think you all know.
Yeah. Early listeners of the podcast know we've done 2+ hour episodes, but anyway. So we left off with the Poe Dameron comics on number 10, which was in the middle of a 6-book series. So it went from issues 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 was all one 6-book series, mostly getting into the background of this Terex guy, his interactions with Poe, and also this search for this fucking battle droid that was part of C-3PO's spy network. And the whole crux of this storyline is that this battle droid allegedly had some information about the First Order, like their secret base location and where Snoke was. So Poe goes to Terex's homeworld, grabs this droid, and they're trying to beat feet out of there. And that's kind of where we pick off at in this number 11. And first of all, I just want to mention something. In the opening crawl, because each of these comics has an opening crawl, it mentions that the Resistance is standing up against the oppression of the First Order. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what oppression? Because this is before Force Awakens. Now, granted, they do eventually blow up a bunch of planets, but this is before that. What oppression have they done? Because later in this exact same book, Phasma tells fucking Terex, and I quote, this is a quote, the Supreme Leader has forbidden open hostility by First Order military against forces aligned with the New Republic. Phasma's quote in that same book. So where is this oppression of the First Order coming from? Answer me that.
I can't. I can't.
Comic author.
It's a valid point. You're talking about. It's almost like the First Order at this point is the Resistance. I'm not.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm not playing with my Stormtrooper, by the way. I'm not doing that right now.
These first two books, issues 11 and 12, it's a lot of just Poe dicking around with these droids with C-3PO and this fucking battle droid that's refusing to give him any of the information. They're running from Terex, blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, Poe crash lands on this fucking planet that he's been chased to by the First Order. And that's the end of issue 12. So at this point, I'm just like, this is awful. This is fucking boring. This is lame. Then we get to issue 13 and things picked up a little bit because on this planet, Black Squadron, which is Poe's fucking X-Wing squadron, comes to the rescue. And he's on the horn with them being like, yo, I got these two droids down here. I'm trying to get off this fucking planet. Help me out. And Tim and Wexley comes across and he's like, what droids do you have? He's like, well, I got C-3PO and I got this fucking battle droid that I heisted from this planet. And Tim and Wexley's like, oh, you got a battle droid, huh? Hang on. I'm going to send you this programming module, put this into your battle droid, and you're good to go. Mm-hmm. And Poe's like, well, what the fuck is this? He inserts the thing into the droid and he's like, okay, Z1DX, need you to help me out now. He's like, my name isn't Z1DX anymore. It's Mr. Bones, as he fucking jumps off of his ledge and just goes and just slaughters all these fucking guys. And it was like this great callback to the fucking Aftermath books.
Yeah, Mr. Bones is the shit.
Yeah.
You almost had to know it was coming too, because the fact that it was a battle droid that they had, and it's like, you can't have this and then not make some sort of reference to Mr. Bones. And
I honestly never saw it coming. Yeah,
really?
I never saw it coming.
Oh, man. I felt it coming. Just as soon as I saw it was a battle droid.
Yeah. And then, of course, like, Wexley just very quickly says, oh, yeah, I keep this programming module with me. This guy used to be my protector back when I was a kid. So that was just a great callback for anybody who'd read those Aftermath books and fucking loved those. Because I know we really liked that character in Mr. Bones.
Oh, yeah.
He was just like a fucking psychotic battle droid that was programmed by Timon. So the rest of the stuff, I could take or leave this whole fucking story.
You missed the whole thing where it's like the Udve or the Uvi, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever. And he's the one. He's the reason that the fucking First Order's been one step ahead of him and T-Rex, because he's trying to get back to. You can tell I'm really paying attention to what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to get this fucking stormtrooper to be cool and stand there.
Yeah,
be like Fonzie. Be cool. Anyway, it's just like whole fucking thing. Like his wife is in prison on Terex's ship, and like so he's trying to get back to that ship so he can be reunited with his wife, and blah 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 blah, and then everyone lives happily ever after.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, it was kind of just. So
aside from the Mr. Bones reference, like honestly,
that was the best part of the whole thing.
This first storyline is a bag of dicks. Honestly, I'm not enthralled by it at any stretch of the imagination. And honestly, this is, we had Bronco Fett fucking, jumping up and down saying, "You gotta do the Poe comics. Oh, it's the best ever." Like, and I had read them up until this point and gone like, "What? This this is kind of bullshit. I'm not into the fucking, you know, the love story here. It wasn't intriguing. It wasn't intriguing. Yeah. This guy right here is way more intriguing than the fucking Pokemon.
Your Black Series.
Yeah. Listen, man, we got it. Once they're opened up, it's the fucking coolest. Like,
oh, trust me, I know it's been so hard to not do it with all those ones I have back in the studio. So, well, are you all right over there?
Check it out.
What up? That's amazing. What up, y'all?
Look at him. He's standing there all cool and shit. Like, yeah. I wish it would focus. Focus. Do it.
Pretty amazing.
Do it.
So we should hold on. What does that yellow sticky note say? I love you.
Don't worry about what my wife who loves me puts on the sticky note.
Yeah.
Word. Look at this guy.
It's pretty awesome.
Anyway.
So yeah, that's it for that series. I'm not gonna completely write it off yet because I know, and Bronco Fed keeps saying it gets better. It gets better.
Sure.
Well, when does it get better?
Sure. Phasma gets better too.
30? Yeah. But no, I'm not going to write it off just yet because I know that there is a part of it that takes place after Last Jedi, and I do want to read that. So I may suffer through it just to get to that part.
Yeah.
We may not talk about it.
We suffer through what, 30 episodes of fucking Star Wars?
Yeah. So,
although Star Wars 1 was interesting initially. You know, it started out good, and then it went to fucking,
yeah, then it just got super boring and repetitive. So, all right, that's all I got for this week. Initially, we kept meaning to get the fucking Rebels, and I still want to get to it as soon as humanly possible, but time restrictions and everything else, I just don't know when I'm going to have the fucking time to sit down and watch half of a season to do it on the podcast. So we're going to keep trying. It's going to happen sooner or later, but with the school shit and everything else going on, we're just going to work it in when we can. So I can't promise what we're going to do next week.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. The note says, "Who the hell knows?" Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get to the Rebel stuff because ultimately we need to get through season 2 to get to 3 and 4. Like I still haven't seen the only season of Rebels I haven't seen is 3, so I'm kind of looking forward to watching that. But I don't want to watch it now because we haven't talked about 2 yet, so I don't want to jump into 3 while we're still talking about 2. So anyway,
that's it. Oh, I wanted to give a quick shout out to what's his first name? Richard, I believe. One of my classmates who actually did listen to an episode of the podcast. So
nice.
If you're listening now, thank you. And if you're not listening now, fuck off.
Yeah. Why would you? Yeah. Fucking listen to every episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Go back and listen to the old ones. They're good. They're really good.
YouTube.com/C/all things Star Wars pod.
Yes.
Oh, all things Star Wars pod? All things SW. I don't remember. I should have this shit written down somewhere.
I think we're only SW pod on Twitter. I think it's all things Star Wars pod everywhere else.
Well, it's the no, because if you're going to buy, I noticed on Teespring there was another order.
Sweet.
Was that you?
No, it might have been Big Lovin'. I think he was.
All right.
He was bugging you about the link to that.
Yeah, I know. Like, so the link to our store in Teespring. So it's teespring.com. We're moving into social media, by the way.
That's fine. Because we're almost out of time, actually.
Teespring.com/stores/all things SW pod. You go there, that brings up our storefront. I know, Big Lovin' or whoever was having issues, and like when they brought up Teespring, it wasn't really necessarily bringing them to the right thing. If you go to the storefront, it'll have all the products there that are available for ordering, and then you can go there. So it's teespring.com/stores/all things SW pod. We can't use Star Wars because of the trademarking stuff. Yeah. As far as the rest of it goes, as soon as I find my fucking thing here, because
find your fucking thing.
Listen, we're short of F-bombs at this point of the show, so fuckity fuck. And quite frankly, our brains are fried, with all this fucking school shit.
Yeah, we're too old for this shit.
know, just fucking. I can't wait till we're like back on some normal wavelength where all we're really thinking about is Star Wars, and it work, whatever. So anyway, so Instagram, All Things Star Wars Pod, Facebook.com/All Things Star Wars Pod, YouTube.com/C/All Things Star Wars. I don't know why there's a C there. That's what they made me do when I set it up.
We probably need 1,000 subscribers to get rid of the C and then just be /All Things Star Wars.
Motherfuckers. Or I misread the directions. Possible. YouTube.com/C, as in see us at /All Things Star Wars.
Links will all be in the show description.
Yeah. Twitter at All Things SW Pod. Haven't been on Twitch. I still haven't looked really at minds.com/All Things Star Wars. You can email us at allthingsstarwarspod@gmail.com. Lots of good stuff on the chat that ideas for things coming up, and
the Dark Horse Legacy comics were mentioned.
Yes, I saw that. We got Isaac Sipe mentioning Rebels is worth it. Bronco Fett said to skip to the end of season 2. We're not going to do that. We're going to cover all this the entire season, and we'll get to the rest of it. So thank you for your input, guys. But no, we have to maintain some continuity here. At least pretend to. We try. Excuse me. And anyway, that's it. That's as far as social media goes. Look for us look for it in the show notes when the podcast comes out. For those of you who are listening to the podcast and are subscribing and downloading, my daughter still is a couple episodes back. I was telling you about, she's doing a podcast with her internship for Berkshire Hathaway. So
yeah, it's the Carlos and Maria show, something like
that. Something like that. I don't even want to say the link now at this point, but I believe it's you can find them on Instagram at BH Talk. I'm gonna get chastised for this if I fuck it up. But we'll try to get that in the show notes as well. Support my daughter and her project for her internship. Struggling college student working 3 jobs. And
you will do it.
Yes, and you will do it. Bronco Fett says it's less than 100 days to college football. It is indeed, which is scary because that means the fucking summer is flying by, and I feel like I feel like it just started, and then it's already almost over. So anyway, that's all I got.
Yep, and that's just about time for us. So yeah, stay tuned next week. I don't know what the fuck we're going to talk about. We'll figure something out. We'll do it live. Yeah. So until then, Dave, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Now, what do I click?